Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from Liquid Laughs in beautiful downtown Boise, it's Boise Banter! Post-Treefort edition, with tonight's guests, comedians Cliff Cash and J.T. Kelly, featuring the return of EV4000 and Dustin Shalafo. Now please make some noise for the hostess with the mostest, the Duchess who can't be Duchess, Miss Sophie Yu!
Intro for the two people in here. But you know what? We're going to start this show like we do every time. We're going to talk about what's in the news. So recently, the RNC, the Republican National Convention, started selling Trump dog leashes to support National Puppy Day so you too can wag the dog. Yeah, that's right. Oh, I love that Emmanuel's back and he can play little bits of music. They just sort of make me feel like that joke landed. A Taco Bell in Montgomery, Alabama burned down, and the locals held a candlelight vigil for it. That's Alabama for you. They have counter-protests to Black Lives Matter, but they really love their $5 boxes. Recently, the world's oldest message in a bottle was found in Australia. It was dated at 131 years old. Officials were very disappointed when they opened it to read it and found instead it was just a crude drawing of a sailor's penis. It's pretty upsetting. A Florida woman recently tried to save a ficus tree in her neighborhood from being chopped down, and the way she decided to save it was by marrying it. Which I think those Christians were right. You know, you start letting men marry men, women marry women. Next thing you got women marrying trees, servers marrying ketchup bottles at the end of their shifts. And why are whales so fucking big? That's all that's in the news. Let's get this show started. Favorite part of the show because I get to introduce somebody who is a wonderful human being and a great talent. Ladies and gentlemen, bring to the stage my co-host Dustin Shalafo. There he is, sauntering on up.
I don't have a song.
Oh, that's hugely disappointing.
Yeah.
This is my favorite part.
I told everybody that their Treefort wristbands will get them into Boise Banter, and they still all thought it cost $1 million to come to this show.
I don't know, man. I cut my wristband off as fast as I possibly could.
Ooh, there's a real easy wrist-cutting joke there, but I'm not going to make it.
Are you still wearing yours? Are you done with it?
I didn't get a wristband. I was at work. I got a time card.
So
I don't have a time card. I fill out my hours with a golf pencil.
Oh shit! I feel good. I gotta do both. I gotta be on the clock and have the wristband.
Yeah, you did.
That's the good life. That's the Duchess life.
You got to play the main stage.
I did.
Comedy outside. What's that like? Tell me about it.
I was really excited to do it because it's like the main stage at Treefort. So it's this, huge outdoor stage. And it's a big thing set up, and I was very excited to go do it, but when I get there, they tell me that there's going to be bands setting up behind me, so I have to stand on these speakers that are not part of the stage. They're just 9-foot-tall speakers that have been strapped together and are on the front, and it's maybe 3 feet deep and 5 feet wide, and that's where you're standing, and if you fall, you're going to fall onto like metal railing.
Yeah,
so
there's nobody there to catch you?
The throngs of fans.
Yeah, you've got throngs of fans. Don't discount your work, Sophie.
There was a lot of people there, but I don't think they would have gone to catch me. I think it would have just been everybody jumping back.
You know,
In this instant, I choose to believe in people and would like to think that they would catch you. But ask me in 5 minutes, I'll probably have a different
When I
answer.
got up there, I was like, oh, this will be fine. I don't really move around a lot when I'm performing. And then I got up there and I was like, actually, I move around a shitload.
Yeah. Why would you think you don't move around? Well,
I don't know.
It's not like you're pacing back and forth like a maniac, but you
Yeah,
accentuate. And
I thought I was very much a plant and speak kind of person, but the second you get me on a narrow platform, I realized that, oh my God. And I'm doing the cock prospector bit that literally has me like walking, and it was going really well, so I kind of got into it, and I'm not paying attention, and I walked to the very edge of the speakers, and I remember putting my foot down where there wasn't anything to stand on. I was like, ooh.
That would have been a death trap for me.
Yeah, it was.
Definitely. I fell off of this stage.
I remember that.
Look at it. I landed right into a lady's knee. She walloped me good. I wasn't right for the rest of the time.
Yeah, I remember you were opening for Tony Hinchcliffe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said I was a good host because I told him they moved the handicap ramp and I fell. And he's like, that's good information to have. Good hosting.
Right. It was going to be a really busy
I'm just gonna
day.
take that compliment.
So we've had a handicap ramp on the side
Which
of the
I still
stage
think we should have.
forever. Yeah. Well, we moved it so we could fit in 2 more chairs.
2 more. Count them 2.
Yeah.
Don't want to miss out on those 4 drinks.
It could be. Yeah.
God forbid.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
I don't want to lose
oh,
that 2
damn
time.
it. If only they would have bought those 4 rum and cokes, I could have fucking donated to that cancer
Tell
fund.
the comic in a wheelchair that tough luck, because we got to sell those tickets.
Yeah.
Got to fill it out.
It's what you get for not being able-bodied. I need to sell rum and cokes, but bing bang boing. I'm yelling into a void. Looks like it's turned into a banter blitz, banter blitz.
There's
There
the
it is.
song.
Ba
Thank
bing
you.
bang boing, ba bing bang ba boing, ba bing bang boing, ba bing bang ba boing. Oh, God damn it! There it is. Shaking out the rust.
Yeah, it's
In
coming
banter
right
we
back.
trust. Here we are
right
to provide love and lust. Boise Banter.
Take 1 month off, we'll fall right back into it.
Or off the stage. It was so embarrassing. It was a sold-out room, and I was mostly upset because not enough people laughed.
Because they were worried for you.
Well, you know what? We're in a comedy club.
I know.
Maybe that's my big closer. I'm just the pratfall guy.
right.
You know, you got the comics where they're like, my
Yeah.
end joke is I stripped down to a banana hammock because that's comedy.
Oh my God. I feel like if you had just jumped up and waved, like, I'm okay, everyone would have laughed, but it was more like you just like slunk off and everyone was like, I think he's hurt.
No, I was hurt emotionally, but I'm used to that.
Oh yeah, you were. And I remember you had to go back on several times during that performance to introduce
yeah,
people.
toasted.
And you had a big red mark on your head and you were bleeding and it was, it was the cutest.
Klutz.
It was really good.
Man, I really wish that those people knew that their wristbands worked because we have great comics coming up. I mean, we're killing it right now.
Oh yeah, we're
The plant is back.
got Audrey 3 here.
Yeah, Vera's here with his slide
It's
whistle.
a Boise Banter reunion is what it is.
Where'd you go, Vera? Did we cut his mic? Good.
I think it's working.
I said purgatory.
Is that what they're calling being banned now? Oh!
It was just the Greyhound station.
You've been living at the
Nobody
Greyhound
picked me
station,
up.
huh?
It was weird.
Nobody picked me up. And I refuse to walk with all this gear.
I've got money. I'm the only one here that has money.
It's true. You don't need to rub it in. Jeez, we bring you back and you're already flaunting
Yeah.
your wealth.
Big time on us right now.
Yeah, Elon Musk or whatever that guy's name is. Why don't you go build some giant Legos?
That's it. I'm
That
fired.
was-
Oleg is hired.
That was
right.
that was a rejected article for the monologue we were writing an hour ago. Elon Musk apparently building giant Legos.
Yeah, we live in a world where limo drivers are making rockets to prove that the Earth is flat, and one of the richest people on Earth is making giant Legos. That's the reality we live in.
What's going on?
And you can get a Trump leash to beat your dog with. Too dark?
No.
I'm
just-
yelling into a
This
void!
is just- yeah, that's right.
I'm having fun.
I am also having fun.
I think
This is us having fun.
Yeah, hey, you know, it's for the internet anyway.
It really is.
How's
That's
it
really
going,
the whole point.
internet? They can't wait back.
It's so sad and lonely.
It's fine.
It's mostly for me to watch later and be like, what's wrong with my hair?
And why does Dustin's face still look like that?
Look, if you're gonna grow it out, you got a condition.
I do. Damn it. Like I said, I just think that I sweat too much. They look so good at the start of the day, and then I move.
Be more sedentary.
Believe me, I would if I could.
Isn't that?
I would love that. I would love if my life was just me doing my hair and then putting plastic over it and laying on the floor for the rest of the day. That would be
Why
perfect.
can't it be?
Because I have to come here and banter for you and twos of people.
Don't put this shit on me.
Yeah, you're right. It's not your fault.
I'm just Andy Richter, all right?
You're right.
I wish. Then I'd have fucking several failed pilots. Can you get famous already so I can botch a bunch of deals?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what you're waiting on. You're just waiting on me to take off.
Yeah, I don't have initiative or drive.
Like,
I don't know how to drive a car. How am I supposed to drive my dreams?
Bringing this guy with me.
Yeah.
It's a package deal.
Let me know any alterations in the stage so I don't fall off.
That's how you're gonna make your fortune, man. You just gotta fall off the right stage.
Yeah, like slipping in a grocery store.
With a little bit of money.
Remember when they used to do those behind those stings on Dateline where people would pour like milk out at the Albertsons and then fall on it?
Yeah.
And so many people were doing it and getting money. Nobody thought to check the surveillance footage until Dateline did a piece on it. I miss those days.
Yeah, you
could rob your local grocer via the legal system. I feel like if there were people here, this would be going great.
Oh, absolutely.
No offense, but Truman.
No, you two are really doing like
yeah,
the best job two people could do.
you're doing the work of tens of people,
Absolutely.
which is what we normally have.
I think it's important that we address this at some point before we continue, because I just really need it to be done. We got Brian Scalaro on the wall.
Oh, he's back.
And we need to get a Jesus Christ for Brian Scalaro,
Yes.
wherever he is. So on the count of three, we can get everybody in here to just shout Jesus Christ with us. 1, 2, 3. Jesus Christ!
Any other Boise Banter?
I really hope he feels it wherever he is.
He does, if he can still feel. He is a dead, hollow man, full of tepid, warm lemonade.
Sad guy.
That's all that's in him. Just tepid lemonade coursing through his veins.
My real goal for Boise Banter is to get big enough to book Brian Scalaro on the show.
I'll wager $1 to donuts. He's not doing much.
How much? What do you think it's going to cost?
It's probably like 6 donuts, not even a dozen. Are they chili filled? Jesus Christ, any other donuts? Give me the cruller.
You're right. I bet I could get him on for a triple shot of Grey Goose.
Yeah.
That was his chosen drink. I said I'd buy him a round, and he goes up to the counter and he goes, "Yeah, this guy in the dress is gonna buy me a triple shot of Grey Goose." I was like, "You piece of shit."
He said that?
Yes, he did.
Jesus
Christ!
Should have got him the fucking Monarch or whatever. Just told him it was Grey Goose.
I think it was all worth it because I got a great Brian Scalaro impression. And if he ever is famous, I'll have a real good impression of that guy.
And, you know, he really has just moved right into our hearts and our homes, and he's just a part of us now.
He is.
Like hepatitis, he's just with us, like a good case of hep.
I kept every single one of his posters from that week. We've got one as a prop here. I've got one in the sound booth. So anytime I'm having a rough week, or anytime the comics are just being annoying that week, I can look at Brian Scalaro's picture and be like,
in Scalaro we trust.
Yeah.
I always feel like Brian's watching me, saying, Jesus Christ, I hate this place.
What I really love about it is the poster in the booth is there, and all the comics are back there hanging out. And every once in a while, we'll get a comic that sees it, and they're like, "Oh shit, you had Brian Scalaro here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like,
"Yeah, we did. He won't be coming back."
So sad.
Yeah, he's just.
I don't know. I'll book him again.
You should.
I just want to get him on Boise Banter. We'll book him the last week of the month so we can get him one more day. That should be our final show. Is to get real Brian Scalaro on the show and sing Christmas songs together.
Yeah. See how long it takes before he gets physically violent. But then he'll punch himself out, like, real quickly.
10 minutes.
That guy sweats when he blinks.
I feel like I just need something good to do with this impression. Because not enough people know who he is for it to be a good thing. I feel like I'm just gonna call people that he knows in real life.
Yeah, you gotta get his Rolodex.
Yeah.
Do you know he still has one of those?
Yeah, I'm gonna call Mark Maron.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Fucking Mark, why don't you have me on the show anymore? You
Brian?
piece of shit, you quit drinking, you think you're so fucking great. Jesus Christ.
What the
Any other
fuck is
podcast? Any other podcast? Hold on. Hello, Ma? Yeah, it's Brian. I don't love you no more. He's just like, I don't know, just find some kind of use for this impression.
All right, we'll take the route that another local comic used, and we'll just post up in the useful page there. Anyone know how to get a hold of Mark Maron? Does anybody know how to get a hold of Mark Maron here? Is this the proper avenue to take? Is this how you get a hold of famous people by asking the locals?
Yet. Okay, we have to talk about this. A local comic who we're not gonna name.
Yeah.
Posted in the Idaho Comedians Facebook group. Anybody in here know how to get a hold of Joe Rogan?
I got a guy that really
There's this guy I know in Nevada who's running for sheriff. Think he'd be a great guest for his podcast. If you know, hit me up.
Oh, shit. What a dunce.
It was so fucking sad.
Oh,
It was so fucking sad. And of course the comedians just tear it to pieces.
Yeah, you're gonna get lambasted if you act like an idiot.
Yeah!
Like, come on. Yeah, this is how you do it. One of the most famous comics, one of the most famous podcasts.
Right.
Yeah, I got his number right here.
Yeah, and
I
then
talk to him daily.
The one person chimes in, somebody chimes in with a little bit of constructive advice, and they say, well, I'm sure he has a website where you could look up an email address for his manager or something and go through the proper channels to get a hold of him. And then they respond, well, yeah, sure, but I'd rather do it through the grapevine. What? Gee, fuck you. Like, that's really your...
It's not how grapevines
That's
work.
how you do it. Right, well, no, I'm sorry, they said word of mouth, which is even worse than grapevine.
Yeah, because that's how you want to get a hold of the guy that's been on TV since 1994.
Oh my God. Like, someone's just going to be opening for him and be like, you know, you should get a hold of this comic
I
guy
know
now.
this sheriff in Reno that's...
They got this sheriff who's like a libertarian or something. They thought they want to get you on the show.
Oh, that just hurt. There
one
was
of
a
our eyes
moment.
members, Jinx. Remember all those tattoos? Did you see, we looked up the guy that she was talking about, actually, the guy that's running for sheriff.
The
Oh,
winner?
man, I have so many pictures on my computer of his tattoos.
What are they of?
Just so many. What's the knuckle one? It said, like, life. It's
Life beer.
It's a nice beer.
For when you want to repair your liver while damaging your brain.
It's a beer with electrolytes.
Today's episode is brought to you by Life Beer.
Yeah.
Because you've lost everything else due to your crippling alcoholism. Life Beer, when you can't see your kids.
Oh, man.
Today's episode is brought to you by Dylan Haas's jacket.
I liked his jacket.
Oh, yeah. It had me dripping in the jeans.
Remember when Dylan Haas was on our show?
No, I do, of course. The heavy card stock. Come
Yeah,
on.
you still got this little...
Yeah, quick Dylan Haas update. He still relaxes in wingtips.
I love that guy.
We love you, Dylan Haas. You're my dad, and I'm proud of you.
Do you think Dylan Haas watches the show?
He might. He's got a lot of free time in between booking festivals and raising children and jerking off to spreadsheets.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
He loves a good spreadsheet. Oh, look at these numbers. They go up, they go down. It's a graph. God damn it, if there were people here, we would be crushing right now.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, it is, because it's for the internet.
That's right.
I'd be feeling a lot better if I cut my fingernails.
Oh yeah, are you like hiding them on purpose? Is that what
Yeah.
you're doing? Is that
Yeah.
you're like hiding your...
Well, I meant to cut them when I got home, and then I woke up at 6:30.
So that's why you're just sitting there holding your hands like...
I shouldn't have drawn attention to it.
Now I'm not going to be able to stop. Yeah, there you go.
This is why I went.
It's okay. That's why every time I sit down, I sit like this. Like as if this is fooling anybody. This is just like this one line. I don't want anyone to see when I lean forward. This is a casual sitting.
You know, it's the tricks of the trade you learn being huge TV stars like us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're really big in Saigon.
I was actually checking our like hits and where they come from, and a lot of them were from Ukraine.
Are you serious? Please tell me that's a fact.
That's a fact.
Ooh, we gotta
I
get
don't
to
know
the
why.
Ukraine.
I don't know why.
Boise
And,
Banter Ukraine edition.
and then-
What do they do over there?
I have no idea. I'm sure they just clicked it by mistake because it means something else there.
Boise Banter? What does that mean in
I don't
Ukraine?
know. I don't know. I'm sure it means something else, and then they get there and see us, and they're like,
It means
"Ugh."
like Freedom Tunnel or something. And they're like, oh no, I'm still stuck here.
Right.
Apologize to the people of Ukraine. I have no idea where you're located on Earth or what goes on there because I am a moron.
And I was looking at my personal blog the other day, the Attila the Hun
History's
blog.
fucked? Oh.
No, the Attila the Hun, the blog about my transition and stuff, and but Hun, H-O-N, and it's
Word
got it's cute. It's got a ton of hits from Mongolia.
Ooh, they got good barbecue in Mongolia.
Yeah, it's got a shitload of hits from Mongolia. I was looking at it the other day, and I hadn't written anything in ages, and I was like, holy shit, I've got like 500 new visits in the last month. Like, what? And I go and look at it, and it's the average time they spent on my site was 5 seconds. There's no way.
That's not
But
bad.
I'll take those hits.
Yeah, you add that up.
Absolutely.
It's a couple
Eventually,
minutes.
I can throw a banner up there. I get 5 cents a hit.
Yeah, let's, all right. Help us get to the Ukraine and Mongolia. Send your donations to, I don't know, just bring them,
I think
to
it's
us
just
here.
at Boise Banter. I think it's just our Twitter handle. Is all we've really
I don't
got
go
for
on
it.
Twitter. It's a
You
dark
could also
place.
mail it
and
to
I-
Liquid.
I refuse to hang out there. Don't mail them to Liquid. Jeremy will take it.
You're right. All right. Well, what do you say we get our first guest on?
We're sorry, guys.
That's gonna be fun.
It is going to be fun.
All right, we're gonna bring up our first comedian of the evening. He was a comic on Tree Fort, and he's a very, very talented guy. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for J.T. Kelly. Woo!
Thank you guys, thank you. I want to tell you guys like a super fucked up story. Like just a bad thing I did. Are you guys okay with hearing, like no judgment though, you guys just have to be down and listen to this bad thing. Are you guys in? All right, so you know how you have those stories where like you do something bad and you can look back and you can see the good in it, you know? It's not one of those. It's just like, it's just a bad thing. I look back, I'm like, oh, that continues to be bad. Like, who here, by like, out of 5 of you, all right, who here's been arrested before? Ow! Yeah, hell yeah, exactly. Who here's lied about their name while getting arrested? All right, who here's pretended to be a deaf person? Okay. Just me. That's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes. But I'm like super good at sign language. My mom's hard of hearing. It's my first language. I killed at it. So it's like just like a natural thing to do. Also, I used to really like taking Xanax and stealing. So that mixed together well when one night I decided I was going to get pretty barred out and then go steal myself some dinner. So I went into the H-E-B, it's our grocery store in Texas, and I was like pretty fucked up, and I saw some steak right there, and I was like, oh, jackpot, putting steak in my jacket. Grab steak, next thing I saw, sushi. And I was like, okay. I'm gonna live as a prince and a pauper in one night. I'm gonna steal myself a fucking good-ass dinner. And I grabbed it and I put it in my jacket. I was getting ready to dine and dash on that surf and turf, and I get like 2 steps out the door when an HEB security guard grabs me. And he's like, hey, do you have a receipt for that? And I was nervous, because like, no, I didn't have a receipt for that. And so I just went, and he was like, do you have a receipt for that? And I was like, no need, it's fine, not gonna come back later. Bang. And in my mind, he's gonna be like, oh shit, this is just a deaf guy trying to steal some food. Get out of here, right? That's how that was gonna go down, but it's not what happened. What he said was, oh shit, you're a deaf guy trying to steal some food? I got you. And he tried to bust me. And like 2 other security guards come out and grab me. And like, hang on for a second. Like, I know I'm doing a bad thing, right? Like, I know pretending to be deaf is a bad thing to do. But so is arresting a deaf guy for stealing food. That's also a really bad thing. And you're like, oh, but you weren't really deaf. He didn't know that yet. He had no idea. So he's still a bad guy also. And so they grab me and they take me to a little HEB jail where they're like, good job, guys. They're all high-fiving on arresting me. And I didn't remember a lot of this night. It's like in pieces. It's called a brownout. It's when you remember some things but not most of it. And so like a year later when I saw the police report, that was the first time I saw the fake name I gave. And my fake name appears for the first time in the police report in the best sentence I've ever seen written in my life. And the sentence is, and then Samuel Torx began to cry again. I don't know where the name Samuel Torx came from, but it seemed really smart. And so the police show up, and the police are like, hey, did you guys arrest this deaf guy for stealing food? And they're like, hell yeah, we did. They're like, good fucking job. We like stuff like that. And they were like, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take the name he gave you. If it comes back clean, we're just gonna give him a ticket for shoplifting. And that's the first time Samuel Torx cried, because Samuel Torx wasn't gonna come back with any ID. And they did. They came back and they're like, all right, Samuel Torx is a fake name, let's search him. And they searched me and they found like a little baton, a super harmless weapon, just like a little piece of metal I carried on me. And they looked at the security guards and said, because of this weapon, we can arrest him for armed robbery. Yeah, that's when Samuel Torx began to cry again. Because I was just getting trashed and stealing food, and now I'm a fucking felon. I couldn't believe it. And I'm fucking sobbing, and the police are like, good job, guys. Fucking another criminal locked up. That's awesome. And as I start getting arrested more and more, like I actually get into the squad car, and they're getting my info, I get better and better at voicing my concerns. Like it goes from like, better than damn it up and go home, to like, my name is Jeffrey Kelly. Social security number, ticked away. Like the whole gambit. I got real good at communicating. And I don't know if you guys have been to jail in Texas. I'm hoping you haven't. But there's a part of jail in Texas that is fucking awesome. And it's when you first get there, you go into the little intake room and a nurse sits you down and makes you show her all your tattoos and describe them. I was like, jackpot. I could do that for hours. I loved it. I spent like 40 minutes with this nurse just gabbing. And every time she'd be like, no way, I'd be like, no, really, the tutorial. She loved it. She was my favorite person from jail. And then that ends and I go into general population, which is just like everyone sitting around waiting to figure out what to do. We call it Gen Pop in the pen. So I was sitting in Gen Pop, just kind of waiting to go what's going on. Like 6 hours later, I start to think like, oh shit, I'm still pretending to be deaf. I'm not actually deaf. And I don't have an out game, and I start to get real worried, and a CO comes up to me, a correctional officer comes up to me, and he's like, hey, we have to get a deaf interpreter down here, so you're gonna be here for a few days. Yeah, and I was like, oh no, I should probably do something right, not something wrong, but I just continued to do the thing I wanted to do. Because I was like, this will work itself out, I'm a deaf guy, you know? It's gonna be fine. And then they take me up to my cell, and before they do that, they put me in like this little room that we have to wait for the elevator, and it's just me and like 8 other dudes in there, and it's the first time there's no other cops around, no correctional officers around, it's just me and like fucking other kids that were probably trying to steal food or whatever. And so like, the CO closes the door and leaves, and I look up to the dude next to me, and I'm like, hey dude, I've been pretending to be deaf this whole time. And he goes, what? And I go, oh. I've been pretending to be deaf this whole time. And he starts dying. The whole room starts dying. Because they're like, oh, dude, that's super funny, because that's a bad idea. they think it's so funny, because they're like, you're so fucked. And the CO hears the commotion. He looked through the window and just sees all of us laughing. So he comes up and opens the door, and in like a second, the whole room fell silent. And I was like, dang. That's the closest thing I've ever had to family. Like, those guys had my back so hard, and they knew it was bad, and they just had it. And so like they all calm down, and they get up when we're all about to leave, and the dude sitting next to me is like, hey man, let me know how this works out. And I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to, dude. Frankly, I think this is gonna be our last interaction. And it was, and they take me up to the jail cell, and I'm like super bad at being a prisoner. I'm so bad at it. I made a ruckus every 5 seconds. Like just banging on the little window to try to get the CO's attention. They'd come up and they'd be like, what? And I'd be like, I'm a vegan. I can't eat this. And so they had the chaplain come. And the worst part of jail for me was when the chaplain came and he's like, oh, so you're a vegan? Oh, so you don't eat meat or dairy? And he looked at the lunch they gave me, and it was an apple, pretzels, and a bologna sandwich. And he takes the bologna sandwich, he goes, that's vegan, and walks out of the room. And I was like, oh, I'm not actually vegan now, I'm so hungry. Also, if you're in jail in Texas for more than 48 hours, this is true, they have to give you reading material. They have to, it's state law. And so I was like, after 48 hours, I was like, boom, make me a library. Like I was begging for it, I was begging on, need books, I need books, I need books. And they brought me a Bible. And I was like, that's fucked up. That's a fucking rude thing to do. And I don't hate Christians, I don't hate the Bible, but what I did do is jack off in like 8 of those pages and plaster them on the wall. That's what I did. That was the direct action I took in jail. And then like 4 or 5 days more go by, and then the social worker comes in, she has an interpreter, and they give me a personal bond. And a personal bond is when you're white and you're in jail, and they trust you with $40,000. They say, hey, the state, we're gonna post your bond, you just have to promise to go to court. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll go to court, that's fine, easy. And I didn't go to any of my court dates. Because I was like, this will just work itself out. I was like, this will just, and then like a year goes by, and I start to get these like warrant letters for like, you know, felony armed robbery. And I was like, oh right, that thing I did. I have to go do something. So I go and talk to a lawyer. And it's like a lawyer, a friend of mine recommended. So I sit down, the lawyer's like, so you here for a DUI? And I was like, no, something else. And he's like, all right, well, let's just find the police report. And he pulls up the police report and goes, I don't think I can find it. And I was like, why? And he's like, it says they arrested a deaf guy named Samuel Torx. And I was like, oh yeah, that was me. And he was like, you pretended to be a deaf the whole time in jail? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, how? I was like, I just talk like that, I'm fine. And he was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, give me a second. And he picks up the phone. He goes, Carl, get in here. And another lawyer comes into the room. And he's like, JT, tell Carl what you told me. And I was like, I got arrested for shoplifting food. He's like, no. The other thing. And I was like, oh, I pretended to be deaf in jail? And he goes, seriously? And I go, yeah. He goes, give me a second. And he leaves and comes back with 2 more lawyers. And he's like, no, you tell them. I swear to God, this is true. He does it like 8 times until there's like over a dozen lawyers in this room just dying at this horrible thing I did. And they're all laughing. I look at one lawyer at one point, and I'm like, hey, so what do I do? And he goes, what do you do? I have no fucking idea what you're supposed to do. He goes, none of us have ever heard anything like this. And then another lawyer, like acting like he's my boy, says to me, I genuinely think this is going to be in law textbooks one day. He says, if this doesn't set precedent on something, I will be shocked. And so the second lawyer that came into this room, his name was Carl. He's super tight. He tells me, he's like, hey, that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I'll represent you for free. And he does. And he represents me for free, and like I go to court, and I don't have to go back to jail or anything. I guess I have to go back to jail once, but like only for a few hours. And it was like real easy and chill. And then like as this is going on, I get into a bicycle accident. Like I got hit by a car and I hit my head real hard. And I'm a lot nicer now, but I can't hear out of my left ear. And I was freaking out. I was so worried because I'm like, now I can't go to my court dates. And so I called my lawyer and I was like, hey dude, I'm in a hospital bed right now. I can't go to court. And he's like, what happened? And I was like, I got hit by a car and I hit my head real bad. And he's like, did anything bad happen? I was like, yeah, I can't really hear out of my left ear anymore. And he goes, seriously? I go, yeah. And he goes, jackpot. And I was like, what? He goes, dude, you just made that lie a truth. So he takes my medical records that show that I can't hear, brings it to the judge, and is like, hey, this was just a deaf guy trying to steal some food. Fucking all charges dropped. The judge was like, oh, I don't even need to hear this case. He said, I can't believe they arrested him for that. And my lawyer was like, I know. It's just the broken system, man. And so like I get all charges dropped and it just works out. It ended up completely fine. And I don't really have a criminal record now. I just have an arrest record, which is really crazy. And so I went back to my lawyer and I was like, hey dude, so like what's next? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, what's next? Like what else can we do to take care of this? And he's like, nothing, you're good. And I was like, because I'm guilty. Like I'm super guilty. I did all those things. I stole, I had weapons on me, and then I pretended to be deaf. Like, all those things are 100% true. And he goes, yeah, you can talk about that. You can put it on a CD. You can talk about it on stage. And this is the end of the story, but it's the part of me it's the part that sticks with me so fucking heavy, is I was like, so I'm good to go? I can like talk about it on stage? He goes, yeah, JT. Because technically, pretending to be deaf in jail isn't illegal. It's just like a really bad thing to do. That's it. Do I have time for a joke? Time for a joke. All right, you guys want to hear my favorite joke before I get out of here? Yeah! Cool. It's my favorite joke because any of y'all can use it. It's the most fun joke in the world. What you do is when you see someone using a urinal, go and use the urinal right next to them. And then start humming. Just hum like a simple tune. Just hum until you know that they hear you humming. Because once you're certain that they hear you, you can bring in the lyrics. And it goes, just two strangers using the bathroom. Little do they know that they leave best friends. And then look at them and smile. Because you're always going to get 1 out of 2 really great reactions. You're either going to get the first one, which is like, haha. You caught me in a pretty vulnerable moment here. I guess I'll laugh along. Ha ha ha. Or you get the second reaction, which is my personal favorite, which is where they try to act like someone's not singing in their ear in the bathroom by just staring dead ahead. Mwah. I love that one. Because then you get to bring in verse 3. It goes, I know you can hear me. I know you can hear me. And that makes us friends. That's what makes us friends. All right, thanks so much. I'm gonna go.
Give it up for JT Kelly, everybody. That was amazing.
Thank you.
I had heard through the grapevine,
Word of mouth.
yeah, word of mouth about this deaf in prison story, jail story, and somebody tried to tell me, and I was like, no, we have him on the show Monday. Don't fucking tell me. I want to hear it from him. That's amazing.
It's just white privilege.
Well, and your awesome lawyer.
Oh, he's the man. We're still friends, and the other day I got in a little bit of trouble, and this was like 2 months ago, and I called him, and I was like, hey, can we meet on Monday? I want to go to the municipal courthouse, catch up on some bills. And he goes, I can't. I'm in the valley doing super good blow with Mexican chicks. And I was like, you're the worst fucking person I know.
This is the greatest lawyer.
He's unreal. He's like tattooed down to here. He won't get it on his hands for court. He dresses in tracksuits and calls everyone mate. He's not from England. He calls everyone mate.
Fuck?
Yeah.
I love this guy.
Dude,
This
he
is
wears
Carl?
Yeah, his name's Carl. He wears a gold medallion all the time.
Does he wear it to court?
Yeah, he wears
That's
it to court.
so awesome.
Yeah, he wears it to court.
Oh my
What's
god.
on the medallion?
I don't know. It's a bunch of weird, like, Aztec-y type designs, but not actual Aztec-y designs.
Yeah.
Probably just what he keeps his coke in.
Right.
He just opens it, gets a quick little
Holy
bump.
shit! I
All the
need.
coke is inside of him by the time he gets to court.
If you could get like this guy's card and send it to us, I would be so happy.
I have his phone number tattooed on my thigh,
You shut the hell up.
just in case. No,
That
I
is
love him.
not true.
Yeah, he's the best thing that ever happened to me. I got his phone number tattooed on me.
That's amazing. All right, well,
You didn't
please
trust
pass
yourself
that
to
along.
memorize it? It's just a tattoo.
Not
I like
after a
that you
night
got
out
it.
of Colorado.
I like that you got it on your thigh. Like that's the more convenient place than just like.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That you're gonna ask for your one phone call and then be like, "Can I get some privacy? Because I'm gonna take my pants off
Drop trash.
to make this call real quick." Yeah, I love that. So how was Shreveport for you, man?
Oh, I loved it. This is the most fun city in the
Yeah,
world. This is
it's
so
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Any like special memories? Anything amazing happened that you want to share with us about it?
I got to tell jokes in a cellar that has a worm farm.
Is that the red feather cellar?
The Red Feather Cellar, yeah. They just casually brought up, like, oh, yeah, we have a worm farm. I'm like, well that's cool.
Why do they have a worm farm?
I didn't ask. Frankly, none of my business. Just excited to know about it.
I love that you were just, I'm not gonna ask.
I'm not a cop.
I 100% would bother that person until I knew every detail. Why? What kind of worms? Silkworms? What do you like? What are they? What's it for?
What are you producing?
Yeah, what's going on?
I'm going there after this.
We could.
I need to know.
Worm business.
There's a worm farm nearby and I wasn't informed.
That makes
You're
you
the
wonder
gift
how-
that keeps on giving, sir.
Oh, shit.
So where are you from in Texas?
I live in Austin, which
Oh,
is like cool
cool
Texas.
parts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool Texas.
But you're originally from Sacramento, right?
Oh yeah. You've been to
Sacramento.
Sacramento?
Several times.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It's the most. So y'all call yourself Tree City, right?
Yeah.
Sacramento, City of Trees. So I get it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now actually we rebranded. We're called the Farm to Fork Capital of the Nation. That's some bullshit.
The farm to fork capital of the nation.
That's what they put on the
That's
water
a
tower.
long name.
Yeah, and dumb,
That's
dude.
yeah.
I don't know. When I went to Sacramento, it was just covered in a lot of bird shit. Is pretty much all I saw. I've never seen a city covered in so much
Yeah.
bird
Bird
shit.
shit capital of the nation as well.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
the-
Chinatown was for sale.
Yeah, all 4 buildings of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a 4-building Chinatown, and one of them is a fortune cookie factory. Can you believe it?
That's Chinatown is like a city block.
I bought cigarettes there for $3.
Oh my god. Let's go buy it.
Yeah.
I'll take one Chinatown.
My experience there was we were doing the Laughs Unlimited in Sacramento,
Oh, yeah.
and they put you up in like this like they have a condo that's in Old Sac, which is just like a Western Disneyland kind of thing. It was just toffee shops and
Fucking awful.
yeah,
It's the
I
only place in
didn't.
California with cowboys.
I really didn't care for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then there was this really shady tunnel that's the only way to get out of Old Sac to like a mall, and you have to walk through this really long shady tunnel, and about halfway through, teenagers start trying to sell you drugs. and then behind that, people hit you up for money, and then you're free.
Yeah.
You're outside, and you're out of Old Sac, and you're just in a regular town again.
It's the gauntlet to make sure you're Sac worthy.
At least you could be like, I don't have any money. I just bought all these drugs from these teenagers. What do you want from me? You want a shitty joint? Here you go.
Absolutely.
Watch that bird shit.
I liked it well enough, but why'd you get out? Why Austin?
There was a festival in Austin called Fun Fun Fun. It's the coolest festival that's ever existed. And the people that run it, I really met randomly. And they were like, we'll book you on it. And I was like, I can't afford to go to Austin. I'm a fucking drug addict 19-year-old.
Sure.
And they were like, well, we'll hire you too. And they've just kept doing it. I've been able to do some of the raddest festivals and make money doing them because I'm also like stagehand or whatever.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
unreal.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the scene like in Austin?
So good.
Yeah? A lot of opportunity for comics out there?
Not a lot of opportunity. There's small amounts of opportunity, but just an amazing, like the comedians there.
Yeah.
Like when I moved there from Sacramento, I was like, oh dude, I'm so funny. I'm the funniest guy in Sacramento, dude. I'm so good. And I moved to Austin, I was like, oh, I'm trash. These comedians are hilarious. Like when I moved there, it was like Mike McRae, Maggie May, Mac Blake, like just like these amazing TV comics running open mics.
Yeah.
And so it was just really challenging. Like it was just really, everyone pushes themselves. Like people get real funny there.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of really good comics around to make you feel bad and then write more.
Yeah, and then when there's not like all this competition for all like this industry shit, because we're industryless,
Yeah.
it gets easy just to spend time with comedians that are funnier than you, not worried, you know.
Yeah. Didn't you win like a contest in Sacramento right before you left? Did you like win like funniest person in Sac?
I did. I won the Laughs Unlimited contest. I actually got second place. I got second place.
Oh, okay.
But I still got to host there. So
That's a cool club.
yeah, I think I was 18 or 19. I thought it was the tightest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this was the first club that I ever did outside of Boise, and I was like stoked because you got those like double doors you walk out onto the stage with, and it just feels really cool. And I ate shit all week long.
It's all downhill after those cool double doors.
Oh, they hated me.
I like, so what they have is like, you know how like the old world, we use like brick walls as like, they use the new world, which is a picture of the city.
Right.
Like all comedy clubs from like 2005, 2010, just put like a silhouette of the city you're in behind you.
Yeah.
I love it, except they colored theirs in.
Yeah, they have a colored in picture of the city,
Yeah.
and then there's a door, and then that door becomes real. And you come out of it, and it's a picture come to life.
Yeah,
I love
a picture they didn't want to see in my case. They literally screamed, "No more of those Boise people!" I was like, "God, fuck, I'm hosting."
Is that true?
Yeah.
Holy
shit. Boy, they hated me.
They were actually screaming at me, remember?
They hated all of us.
Oh my God.
But it was mostly him.
I want to go back. Let's all go back and see if it's still as bad.
There is, outside of Old Town, in actual downtown Sacramento, like 2 really good comedy clubs, 2 or 3 good open mics, and like 1 good comedy just room. And they are so worth it. And also, it's like Boise, but with legal weed.
That's perfect.
You got to trade the guns for the weed to go to California? Fair enough.
I'm totally
Fair
fine with that.
enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shit. I think we got to get on with things, but thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you so much.
One more time for JT Kelly, everybody.
Tomorrow in Twin Falls.
Oh, dude. All right, we got one more guest for y'all. I want you to make a lot of noise. Ladies and gentlemen, the very talented Cliff Cash.
Thank you. After that last set, I think maybe we ought to start this one off with a prayer. So if everybody would please bow your heads, take the person's hand beside you, whether you know them or not, just take their hand. Lord, I want to pray that you would forgive JT for pretty much all of that stuff. Pretending to be a deaf person. And then lying about being a vegan when he was arrested for stealing steak and sushi. I want to thank you for Boise, Lord. I pray that you would help them to finish it all the way. Maybe add in some parking spaces. I want to thank you for my home state of North Carolina and my North Carolina legislature, that they are able to stay laser focused on what is truly important They're not distracted by little nuances like being last in teacher pay or 42nd in education. No, sir. They're not sidetracked by little silly details like crumbling roads, bridges, or infrastructure. They're able to zero in on what is your will, Lord, which is making sure which potty people go TT and poo-poo in. So grateful for them, Lord. Lord, thank you that we finally got us a Christian president. A man who's just godly and Christ-like, just humble and selfless and compassionate and kind. You sent us a healer, Lord. You sent us a healer just like Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Palestine. Thank you that when there was only one set of footprints in the sand, it's because you was carrying us, because we was wasted. Spring break 2002, Myrtle Beach. Please protect us from ISIS and Ebola virus. Amen. You don't applaud for a prayer. Look here, I mentioned the bathroom bill, North Carolina bathroom HBPV thing. And look, I want to be clear about something. I like trans people. I like gay people. I mean, I want to take rights away from them, but like in a loving way. You know what I mean? I'm a Christian. If you think about it, they're almost like people, really. I just don't think they should be able to vote or own real estate, but I like them. People are hard on gay people, but I like to find the silver lining when it's half full. And gay people, as a people, as a genre of people, get less abortions than any other group of people. So really, if you're pro-life, you pretty much got to be pro-gay, is what I'm saying. It's like a catch circle. It's the only thing I like about gay people. Hardly ever get abortions. The only thing I like about people who get abortions, hardly ever gay. You know what I mean? It's like... You got to look out for gay people, though. I like them fine, but they'll try and get you to be gay. I had a fella did it to me. He come right up to me. He was like, "Hey, man, you gay?" I was like, "What? No. I don't think so." He's like, "You sure?" I was like, "I'm pretty sure." He said, "Well, how do you know?" I was like, "Well, I ain't never want to, like, suck on another dude or nothing like that." And he's like, "Well, did you ever try?" And I said, "Well, no." And he was like, "Then how do you know?" And I was like, "Shit, that's a good point." And so I tried it, and it was a lot saltier than I thought it was going to be. And it reminded me of those boiled peanuts at the gas station. And gas stations remind me of road trips, and I love to travel. And I think that's what happens is they find out what you like, and they just pull you. They just get you in. And so now I'm gay. And it was like a vampire bite. I just switched. I was just trying to do something nice for somebody, turn myself gay. It was like Ice Bucket Challenge, but just wieners, and it was nuts. I don't really talk like that. I was just fucking with you. Oh man, it's hard to follow JT's story. I have so many questions. Mostly about that gun tattoo on your forearm. It's like, is that a gun tattoo? And he didn't even address that? He'd get up here and not even address that? he was like a doomsday prepper in a past life. He's like, when I was 19 a few years ago, I was like, what? How old are you? Oh, this is great. I've had a really good time. I like Boise a lot. I like Idaho a lot. It's like if Cracker Barrel was a state, you know? It's really... I'm a white Southerner, and it's the whitest place I've ever been. It's like, what happened to the people of color? Were they ever here? Did they leave? It's confusing. It's good. Everything's going pretty good for me this year so far. This year's been a lot better than last year. This time last year, my wife was fucking a Canadian that she met in Mexico, and I found out about it the night before I was coming home from a 4.5 month tour. A guy called me, and he was like, I don't know all the details, but I can tell you with relative certainty that your wife's been unfaithful. He didn't say it that eloquently. He's not as smart as I am, but he's something like that. And he told me the story, and it was like just bizarre enough that I was like, this has to be true. So I drove home through the night. She was in Vegas on a trip she shouldn't have been on, and I beat her home. I drove 10 hours through the night, like 3 Red Bulls. I got home to the North Carolina coast at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I rented a U-Haul truck, and I moved all of my shit out of the house. And she flew in that night at like midnight and got home, and all my shit was gone. And then she called me, and she was like, stupid, it's April Fool's. And I was like, what? Oh, I'm such a piece of shit, I'm so sorry. And so I had to move everything back in. And what a mess. I'm kidding, she really fucked other people. This is a real roller coaster, isn't it? She fucked a lot of people. She was hornier than I thought. I didn't know. I was like, I didn't know you were that horny. We would have done creepier shit. So I moved out, and she confessed to me. She was like, I met this guy in Mexico on vacation with my shitty friends. I added that part in there. But and then she came and visited me on tour for 16 wonderful days. I thought we hiked through 4 national parks. We danced in the desert. We watched the sunset and the moon rise. We drank wine and danced in this ghost town. We ate LSD in one of the world's most significant cave systems. And it was fun. I thought it was great. And then she flew home, was home for like a week, and then flew to Canada and fucked the guy she met in Mexico. And she's telling me all this, and I'm furious, of course, because I'm like, we don't have money for that, Like, we are poor. We don't have money for you to be getting international dick. That is not what kind of income we have. You could have slept with one of the neighbors for free. You know what I mean? You could have had sex with one of my friends that we both know and trust. What are you doing? Banging Canucks. It's very frustrating. But I knew I was more committed to stand-up comedy than I was to the relationship, because even while she was confessing to me, I was writing the bit in my head. I was like, can you hang on a minute? I'm going to get some paper. She's like, tissue paper? I was like, no. Note paper. This is hilarious. Canada? The country? I just thought it'd be really funny if I was like a hardcore, like, right-wing, racist, patriot, nationalist, white supremacist type guy, and I was like more mad at her for the Mexico thing and the Canada thing than I was for the infidelity itself, I'm just like, Mexico, Canada, are you even a fucking patriot anymore, honey? We're about to be great again, and you're out here banging Canucks? You kidding me? If you're gonna break our wedding vows, it better be with an American citizen, damn it. But I didn't do that. I just took a painting off the wall and yelled, "This is ugly art," and I threw it down the hallway. I'm a pretty tough dude. That's what you do when you're a macho man. That's how I handle. That was my coping mechanism. I was like, what the fuck is, where'd you get this? How much was this? How much was that plane ticket? She always complained about money, and I'm like, you're the one booking last minute flights for Canada dick. Like, that's irresponsible. So now I have a new lady in my life. We got together, and she told me, she was like, I feel like I'm too hippie for you. And I was like, that's not the case. Like, I'm totally down with that. I need someone who's like peaceful and calm and like emotionally wise and spiritually grounded and like, the opposite of my ex-wife, just like kind and nurturing and loving and selfless and like not fucking a Canadian. And so it's been going really well. But she is kind of a hippie. She's a yoga instructor and a meditation instructor. And so the first thing that we did together as a couple, we went to a conscious gathering, which I don't really know what that is, but we went to that for the solar eclipse in the mountains of Tennessee, because it was in the path of totality. I don't really know what that means, but we went up there, It was a conscious gathering, and it was like a bunch of people. It was like maybe like 40 people. It was just the nicest, kindest people you can imagine. And my girlfriend was the only one with shaved armpits. I felt pretty cocky about that. And it went really well. And we did all this different stuff. We did like an earth art mandala, which I don't really know what that is. We did that. And then we did acro yoga, which I don't fully understand. And then we did tantric chanting, which I don't still know what that is 100%. But it was nice. And then we ate like vegan food. We did a sweat lodge, and there was like a Native American man. And there's rocks. So the rocks are steaming. They're real hot. It was like in like a teepee thing. And we like released the bad spirits, and I got blacked out because it was super hot. I don't really know 100% what it was, but it was good. And then at the end of the weekend, we all got together and we did a group meditation, which I don't fully get what it was, but we did that. We all got in a circle and we held hands, and we did like alms. We did alms, and then we held hands and we did a meditation. I was just like looking around thinking about stuff, but like we did that, and then we had liquid cacao. The cacao is the bean that chocolate is made from, and when you liquefy it and drink it, it opens the heart space. And I don't really know what that means, but we did that, and we passed this wooden bowl around with the liquid cacao in it, and everybody drank out of the same bowl, and you drink the liquid cacao, and then you take a little dot and put it on your third eye, which I don't really know what that is, but we did that, and then we passed it. And then we laid back, and all our feet were in the middle and formed a circle like the sun. And our bodies were out like this, like the rays of the sun. And I was holding hands with this woman that I'm so enamored with, and this other lady had like super hairy armpits. And we were laying out like the sun, and we got our solar eclipse glasses on. And I'm just like, man, what a beautiful moment. Like, what are these beautiful people? This is so wonderful. I feel so blessed to be in doing this thing with this amazing girl. And I had the cacao on my breath and my third eye, and I was like meditating, I think, and we're looking up at the sun and the glasses, and then all of a sudden, my mind, you know, that over-analytical past and future, you know, that ego and pain-based fear and pain-based mind crept in, and I was like, oh, shit. Did I just do a cult suicide? Did I just fucking kill myself with all these people? I didn't even know I was in a cult, and I just killed myself. I don't know what was in that. I shouldn't have drank that. This is bullshit. And I was just thinking about like my family members. They were just gonna be like, man, that poor son of a bitch couldn't catch a break. His wife like fucked Mexicans and Canadians, and then we thought he was doing fine. He started dating some hippie girl, and they did a cult suicide together. Poor bastard. But it's been good. We're still alive, and we've been dating. And she's been touring with me. She tours with me full time now. It's really cool to have somebody to go on adventures with, and not be lonely, and somebody like, you know, is like down to do all the things I like to do. We live in a car, which is really awesome. Don't ever do that. And she teaches yoga, and I do comedy. I sell photography after my comedy shows, and she like makes jewelry and sells it, and we resell like vintage clothes, and we just kind of do whatever we can to make it to the next place. So you know, you can give us like $1 if you want to. But it's been cool. We were in Ohio. The only time she's ever gotten mad at me, she's like very calm, very zenned out person. Like, we don't fight about hardly anything ever. And like, it's the first time she'd ever been upset at me. And I did a show, and we were asleep in a hotel room bed in outside of Cleveland. And I was sleeping on my side. I'm a side sleeper, but I had a pillow between my knees because my hip flexor is a little iffy, and you don't want your leg to drop lower than horizontal with the rest of your body because it's bad for your alignment. So I had that pillow like that, and then I got a bad trap on the right side, so I don't want my chest to close up all the way. So I had a pillow here sort of propping up my arm because those vertebrae right there, like that whole thing, you don't want that doing that. So I had the pillows like that, and I was kind of half asleep, and I heard her moving around, and I was like, good morning, honey. It's the only time she's ever been upset at me. She goes, you're cuddling with those pillows. You could have been cuddling with me. And I was like half asleep. I was like caught off guard. I was like, fuck. I didn't know what to say. I was like, nothing happened. It's just friends. It's just an inanimate object. And then I slept with all 2 of them again that night. What? High five, crowd. Is that a bicycle trophy? Whose house is this? Can we? Am I allowed to come up there like this?
Please.
Can they see this from the camera?
Yeah.
That's a baby with no eye.
Yeah, it is.
This is a baseball with a menorah on it that says Happy Hanukkah. Monday, you bastard, a BMX bicycle trophy, and a bush that is clearly not real. I don't know what's happening. I'm glad we got a recording of the night I quit comedy, though. I think it's perfect. Do you mean just leave this and then come up there?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Don't ask me the hardball questions.
Oh, okay, I'll really take it easy.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, thanks for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All this
You want another
various
pillow to cuddle with?
dressing.
Keep that good. Keep that good there.
It's just that every week we usually add something stupid to the desk, and then at some point we're gonna, auction them off for like $1, and then hopefully hopefully I can then pay the people
got real nice
who
hands.
volunteer that.
Smooth and warm, trusting. Yeah, get in there.
Do you guys want to
Oh my
start the
God.
interview off with a prayer?
Yeah, can we?
I figured it was one of y'all.
Oh, was I gonna lead the prayer? Let's let
Dear
Justin-
baby Jesus, thank you for these beautiful comedic blessings you've brought to us this day. Thank you for the 3 to 5 people that were brave enough to wander in after Tree Fort,
Amen.
void of cash and brain cells. Thank you, Lord, for Emmanuel Vera IV, disrupting our show with beautiful sounds of keyboards and synthesizers. And thank you to Truman Bishop. He owns every video game. Clap.
Amen. Yeah.
And
That
maybe
was a
just
nice
one
prayer.
song?
Yep. And you're right. Cliff's hands are great.
Yeah.
Those
Those
solid
are
mitts.
easily the best comedic hands I've ever
Yeah.
grasped. I touch every comic that comes through here.
That's true. That's a big thing for him. He's going to touch their hands at some point.
Yeah, I gotta know. I gotta know.
So when we first met, you said you've been on the road for a while. I can't remember exactly. How long have you been on the road for?
Well, today is what, the 26th of March?
Mm-hmm.
I left home January 2nd for this tour.
That's awesome.
Home is North Carolina,
Yeah.
the southern coast of North Carolina.
You've been on the road for a while.
Yeah, and my lady partner, my spiritual partner, she likes to be called Firefly, is her spiritual name. She met me in the Bahamas January 22nd. So she's been with me for 2 months of the 3
That's awesome.
Yeah, I did a 2-week gig in the Bahamas at a resort.
Yeah.
For the worst people you can imagine. I'm kidding. Some of them were nice. Like they won the trip, but the ones that paid.
Right.
Coronas are $9 there,
Oh,
so
God.
I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
That was good. It was good. We've been traveling all over the country, and we literally live in a car. I'm not kidding about that. We got a station wagon with a bed in it.
Yeah.
I built a platform under the bed, and we have these long, 4-foot pull-out drawers with all our food and utensils, and then we have our clothes stored under the part, behind the front seats, and then we have those Yakima storage boxes on the
At
roof
the top yet.
with hammocks and hiking boots and
You converted the
towels.
station wagon into a tiny home?
It's the tiniest tiny home. I'm
That's awesome.
leading the trend.
Yeah.
I think that's great. And it's also like having somebody with you on the road. That's got to be huge.
Yeah, it really is.
It's super lonely
It's
out there
incredible.
sometimes.
And like, what are the chances? Going through that infidelity and the divorce and all that was heartbreaking, of course. But I had to have this kind of toxic, awful relationship sort of fall away and make room for this wonderful thing to come into my life. And
Yeah.
I think that's the lesson that I try to take away from that and all other bad things is like sometimes you think something is bad and it indeed is very, very good. So that you got to look for that like seed of a beautiful thing inside of the dark, heavy, ugly thing, and kind of find the alchemy of turning that stuff around.
That's actually really nice. Yeah, thank you.
I'm actually starting a cult.
Sign me up, man.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
You got a pamphlet or?
We have a cacao ceremony we're gonna do.
I'm in. I've really got not a whole lot on my calendar, so I'm more than happy to join that cult.
I don't have anything till we do this next month, so giddy up, let's go.
I don't have another paid gig until like the 6th of April, so I was gonna stay at one of y'all's houses.
That's fine.
Okay.
I got a pile of laundry on my floor that you were welcome.
I've heard about your laundry pile.
You're more than welcome there. It's the same one Casey was on, so he's already kind of nested it.
Nice.
You can just curl right in there. So tell me about these photos that you take and you sell after the show. That's your merch.
Well, I go out into national parks and eat LSD and take pictures of waterfalls and sunsets and cactuses.
They are all pictures you've taken while high.
No, Mom, I'm kidding about the drugs. And the prayer stuff. It's just a goof. My mom wants so bad for me to be a youth minister. Like, that's my bad. I come from a family. My mom talks in tongues. My dad worked on a pit crew when they still raced NASCAR on dirt.
Yeah.
And my last name is Cash, so it's pretty southern. It's pretty southern conservative.
Yeah. Denomination. Religious.
Southern Baptist.
Okay.
And now, that's how it started, and now my mom goes to 2 different churches,
Yeah.
and one of them is the tongue-talking thing.
Yeah, I got a whole side of the family that does that too. They're
Yeah.
like revival.
Yeah.
I remember early age going to church in like a tent.
Yeah.
And there's always some, like kid, about like 13, 14, that jumps up in the middle and they start like shaking.
Yeah.
Is it that kind of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
except everybody's shaking. It's not one kid, it's like...
Well, it was usually like somebody got
Everybody's
moved,
like, why
and
is
everyone was like
Lisa
amazed.
not shaking? One person's not shaking, we're like, you need to get the
You
spirit,
gotta
sister.
start shaking.
But I respect, everyone's different.
Sure.
I respect whatever brand of magic anybody wants to believe in. I think it's...
Yeah.
As long as you got some magic in your life, you know
Right.
what I mean? Because a life without some kind of magic is not magical.
Yeah.
But the pictures you're asking, I just was seeing so much. So I'm trying to see every national park.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen like 23 of the main 59, and so I was doing a lot of hiking and camping and just spending time in nature. And I was seeing so much beauty that it was like, it felt selfish to not try to like share it. So that's when I started doing Instagram and just posting pictures of beautiful stuff. And I don't know that I have any kind of photography skill. I think I'm seeing so much beauty that it's like hard to mess it up.
Right.
But people started saying like, man, these are great. You should sell them. And I wanted to. As a comedian, you kind of have to sell merch to make it.
Absolutely, to get from one place to another. I thought it was a great idea for merch.
Thanks. Yeah. I wanted to sell something that I could still have a little artistic integrity, like not like a fanny pack with titties on it.
Yeah, beer koozie.
A lot of comedians just like, here's a T-shirt with a racist quote. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to sell like Chinese child labor made T-shirts.
Right.
So yeah, it's cool and it's easy to I can stack 50 of them like that. So it's easy to travel.
Yeah, that's a great idea for merch. I thought they looked great.
I love doing it. I really do.
So this is your first time in Boise then?
It's my first time. What'd you
think of Boise?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
All these whites. I'm kidding. No, it's a cool city. This is actually my first time in this like corner of the United States. I've kind of seen the whole rest of the country, and so I'm going to Seattle and Portland after this, and so I'm almost done. I've seen almost every state. I'm going to almost knock out the contiguous continental United States on this trip.
Is the end of this tour in sight at some point, or are you just going until...
My last booked show right now that makes sense to stay gone is June 14th in Maryland. So we're going to be... Wow. I've got shows in Ohio and, Portland, Seattle, Portland, Northern California, Vegas, Denver, Cleveland, Maryland, West Virginia, and we're going to kind of... So I think I'll probably be home by the middle of June.
That's a huge trip, man. That's awesome.
5.5 months without going home. So
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. It kind of wears you out. I'm only 19, so it's aged me a lot. I'm only 2 years younger than JT.
Well, shit. Cliff, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so
for
much. Can we
having
get one
me.
more time for Cliff Cash, everybody?
Did I leave now?
You can hang if you want. I'm just gonna wrap up. So there's no reason to get up and go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice couch, right?
Yeah, feel free.
feels good.
We took it from the lobby next door.
That's true. That's one of my favorite parts of setting up is that wander into the restaurant next door, and I look around, and then I grab a plant and walk out, and they don't know what's happening. They just saw a lady come in and steal a plant, is what they think happened. And it's great. It's even better when you put them back at the end of the night. It's kind of nice to just wander in. I'm not wearing any kind of uniform. And then I just sneak into a restaurant and put a plant in the corner and then...
Like, you know, what were they doing with that couch for an hour?
Yeah, exactly. They'll never know.
There's a waitress over there named Stephanie who thinks it's haunted.
That plant was not there when I clocked in.
100%. Oh man, you're coming alive after the interview.
Oh man, I have energy drinks.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple people to thank. For one, I'd like to thank my co-host, Dustin Shalafo. Thank you so much. The return of Emmanuel EV4000. Thank you so much for being here playing music. And Chance Ward, of course, running the mic.
Chance Ward.
We could not do this show without you. We're literally doing it for the internet, and that's your thing. So thank you so much
like,
for doing
share,
that.
and subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah, and if you
Right now, we're only big in the Ukraine.
Right. Yeah. We could use some American followers. So hit us up at Boise Banter. Thank you so much for being here one more time.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, that's it for us.
Next month.
Bye everyone.
If this show ever makes it that climb.